What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, February 6th, 2024, and I have yet another emergency alert to share with you guys. We have some major breaking news coming in this afternoon. So, according to the U.S. Institute for Science and International Security, Iran has enough nuclear material to build its first nuclear weapon within a week. The country is capable of producing 6 such bombs within a month and 12 in 5 months. Wow, guys, that is very, very concerning. And this comes just a day after former President Donald Trump said that Iran could have nuclear weapons inside of 60 days. So we're going to have to wait and see if the U.S. is going to launch a massive strike on Iran to denuclearize them. I think it's very possible. Remember, in the fall time, U.S. Congress passed a resolution saying that the U.S. will use any means necessary to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and that Iran having nuclear weapons is unacceptable. And this was passed by both Republicans and Democrats. So I think it's very possible that the Biden administration could launch a massive strike on Iran right before the election to delay the election or boost his popularity. And what you're looking at here is a U.S. nuke sniffer plane in the air this afternoon. And what's interesting is that it's getting aerially refueled over South Dakota right now. It took off from Offutt Air Base, which is home of U.S. Strategic Command, and it's been flying very low over South Dakota, and it's meeting an aerial refueler near Falkton, South Dakota. Anybody in South Dakota, in the northern part of South Dakota, near Redfield and Aberdeen, please let me know in the comments or send me an email or use the contact form on my website if you see any of these planes in the air or any unusual things you observe. Please let me know. And the Israeli army is saying that they have intelligence confirming Hamas's connection to Iran. IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said the Israeli military has uncovered documents and other materials from a tunnel in the Gaza Strip indicating Hamas's direct links and coordination with Iran. We found official documents of Hamas from 2020, including the details of the funds transferred from Iran to Hamas and Yahya Sinwar. Sinwar is the leader of Hamas between 2014 and 2020. More than $150 million were transferred from Iran to Hamas, he says. This is another example of how Iran exports terror across the Middle East. This is a global problem, Hagari says. He says the intelligence information was given to Israel's allies. So very serious news there, okay? Israel confirming that they do have evidence that hundreds of millions of dollars were transferred from Iran to the leader of Hamas. So, yet another sign that the U.S. and Israel are planning a war against Iran. I think it's coming, guys. And honestly, it has to be done because Iran is on the verge of having nuclear weapons. And that would be a total disaster. The first thing they would do is try to launch those nuclear weapons at Israel. They've said many times they want to wipe Israel off the map, okay? Or they could give some of these nuclear weapons to, say, Hamas or some other terror group, and that terror group or proxy group could use those weapons against Israel. And the Prime Minister of the UK, Rishi Sunak, said Great Britain is ready to fight with Russia if Moscow turns its guns on Britain. Wow. And this is coming just about a week or two after every NATO defense minister said that NATO needs to be prepared for a war with Russia, and NATO's doing this historic exercise right now in Eastern Europe, and they've moved 90,000 troops, hundreds of tanks, dozens of naval warships to the eastern part of NATO next to Russia. And this exercise is going to last through June. And I don't think this is an exercise. This is a forward deployment. And Poland has already issued a massive air navigation warning for the entire eastern half of their country that borders Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. And this air navigation warning also includes their capital. And the warning says that pilots need to be prepared for unplanned military actions related to ensuring state security. So I find it very interesting that suddenly the Prime Minister of the UK would say that Great Britain is ready to fight with Russia. Very interesting. And another sign that we are on the verge of a major world war, possibly a nuclear war. And Lebanon has rejected a peace proposal by Israel to prevent a war with Hezbollah. The proposal involved the withdrawal of Hezbollah to the north of the Litani River. Western countries demand the retreat of Hezbollah for about 8 to 10 kilometers north of Litani, Lebanon's foreign minister Habib said in an interview with Nida al-Watan newspaper. This is a formula that Lebanon rejects. Beirut will not accept partial solutions that do not bring the desired peace and do not secure stability, but will lead to the renewal of the war again and again. So, another sign that we are on the verge of yet another front opening up in the Middle East. Okay, a war between Israel and Hezbollah. And this war would be much, much different than the war in Gaza because Hezbollah is better armed. And the Israeli army said that 31 of the remaining detainees in Gaza have died. They didn't say what were the reasons of their death, but they have died. Very sad news. Please pray for those detainees that are being held by the Hamas scumbags. Houthis may have hit a third warship overnight last night, in addition to the American and British ships they claim to have hit with missiles late last night. The maritime intelligence company Ambry says a Marshall Islands flagged Greek-owned bulk carrier was targeted while transiting the Maritime Security Transit Corridor southbound, approximately 53 nautical miles southwest of Yemen's Aden. Ambry says the vessel was going from the U.S. to India. Okay, so a Greek ship, a U.S. ship, and a British ship all hit with missiles last night. Okay, and British Secretary of Defense Grant Shapps on Monday said in front of the British Parliament that the airstrikes in Yemen have failed and they have not reduced attacks on ships transiting through the Red Sea. He vowed to renew operations against the Houthis, and the EU also said yesterday that they are on the verge of launching a massive naval mission to the Red Sea. So the situation is continuing to escalate over there, and the Washington Post is reporting that the drones that killed U.S. troops in Jordan likely went undetected. The early findings, which have not been previously reported, indicate that the drones may have been missed due to a low flight path. The preliminary findings appear to undermine previous assertions that U.S. air defenses mistook the attacking aircraft for an American drone returning to the base about the same time, and they raise new questions about the Pentagon's ability to keep pace with the threats facing U.S. personnel deployed across the Middle East. So if you remember, shortly after that incident, the U.S. said that the reason why they weren't able to shoot down the drone that was coming in to hit the base was because it flew right behind an American drone that was coming back in from a mission. It basically piggybacked off of that other drone which sounds like BS. I told you guys that was BS because they have advanced radars. Okay, their radars can distinguish multiple, planes or projectiles in the air. Okay, but now new findings are saying that it was because the drone was flying very low. Okay, so that is very concerning. Our radars cannot pick up these drones being used by the Iranian proxies. And this was an Iranian drone, guys. Okay, they hit our base with an Iranian drone, a Shahed drone, the same drones that Russia has been using against Ukraine. Okay, and these drones, they have a huge advantage because they can fly super low and they're pretty quiet, so they don't trip off any radars or sensors. Okay. And Biden says that Trump wants to weaponize the U.S. border issue for his own gain. And he also said that the clock is ticking for Ukraine as it resists Russia. And the Argentinian president Milei flew to Israel and declared that Argentina is moving its embassy to Jerusalem. Here's a video of him landing in Ben Gurion International Airport. So, pretty cool. I support the Argentinian president. I think he's doing good so far. And China told the UN Security Council that the recent U.S. airstrikes constitute a grave violation of the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Syria and Iraq. So, if you remember, the UN Security Council had an emergency meeting today because Russia demanded one after the U.S. airstrikes on Friday night. So, China is siding with Syria and Iraq. Okay, and basically siding with Iran as well. China, Russia, and Iran are going to be doing massive naval exercises somewhere in the Middle East at an unspecified date in the future. So that is very concerning. Okay, and this is coming straight from the Bible, guys. The Bible says the kings of the East will march towards Israel, which are supposed to be Asian countries. And the Bible also says that Magog, which is Russia, is going to lead a massive alliance against Israel involving multiple Middle Eastern countries. Okay. And a Russian sonobuoy was found on a beach in southwestern Lithuania on the Curonian Spit just 3 days ago. A Russian-made hydroacoustic sonar used for intelligence gathering, submarine detection, and positioning was found by a civilian on February the 3rd on the Curonian Spit. This is right next to Kaliningrad, the Russian province stuck between Lithuania and Poland. And this was announced by the Lithuanian Armed Forces. So that's very concerning. Okay, and Russia is doing a lot of GPS jamming over the Baltics and Poland, which Poland and the Baltic countries are complaining about because it's dangerous. They're jamming GPS signals, and pilots and ships are having difficulty flying or steering their ships. Okay, but now we have news that was found right on the beach in southwestern Lithuania. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a limited time sale on their 1-year emergency food supply. They're going to drop the price by $700 for this week only. The sale expires February the 11th, 2024. This 1-year emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It's all contained within 24 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $700 off. To get the deal, go to preparewithnYprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. They're also doing a discount on the Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system. They're doing an $80 discount. Normally the price is $280. They've dropped it down to $200. And this water filtration system filters out bacteria, heavy metals, chemicals, various types of pesticides and agricultural byproducts. And the best thing is that it does not need electricity to work. It's powered by gravity, so you can take this with you anywhere if you're going camping, if you're bugging out, if you lose power at home, okay? Or you could use this every day just for everyday use to purify your well water rather than installing a special treatment system that could cost thousands, okay? So to get the deals, go to preparewithnyprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. $80 off the Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system and $700 off the My Patriot Supply 1-year emergency food supply. Guys, if you buy this thing, you're pretty much set for any scenario. Now, they also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival items. They have a wide variety. To get to their general store, when you go to preparewithnyprepper.com, you click on the top of the page, the logo here, My Patriot Supply. Click that logo, and it'll take you to their general store, and they have everything you need. Okay, so check it out, preparewithnyprepper.com. The link is in the description below this video. And it looks like there's going to be a massive drone war between Russia and Ukraine very soon. Russia is going to be paying Iran at least $2 billion for the production of 6,000 units of jet-powered Shahed 238 drones, which are going to be built at a Russian factory in Alabuga. And this deal also includes the transfer of software and technology. So this way, Russia can produce these drones on their own in the future. And these long-range Iranian kamikaze drones give Russia a cheap, deep strike capability and the ability to reduce aircraft losses and missile losses. And Ukraine has signed a deal with the Turkish drone company Baykar to begin the construction of a drone factory in Ukraine for the production of the TB2 and TB3 drones. These are the Bayraktar drones that were very effective in the beginning stages of the war. So Russia is going to be building jet-powered Iranian drones, and Ukraine is going to be building Turkish drones. Okay, so we're going to have this massive drone war soon. And in the last meeting of the NATO defense ministers on January 23rd, they discussed adapting anti-aircraft missiles of Western models to Soviet launch platforms used by Ukraine and many former Eastern Bloc countries. So that's very interesting. And Ecuador is going to be transferring 6 anti-air missile systems to Ukraine. Very interesting. And an M4 class solar flare caused a short-term radio blackout in Australia earlier today. And what you're looking at here is the latest solar disk, and you can see this massive sunspot here, 3576, absolutely massive. So we have to keep an eye on that sunspot. And some very sad news this morning. Toby Keith passed away at the age of 62 today. He was battling stomach cancer. Very sad. I'm a huge fan of his. I always listen to his songs, his old songs from like the early 2000s. He's just a legend. So he's definitely going to be missed by me for sure. And Tucker Carlson released this video statement about why he was in Russia, and he confirmed that he interviewed Vladimir Putin, and he's going to post the interview on his website without a paywall so anybody can watch it. And I want to just play this for you guys, but he says it's not going to be edited, that it's going to go live to video. So that means it should come out very soon, possibly this week. We'll see. All right, but let's listen to what he has to say. I'm going to leave you with this video, and I'm going to be back later on this evening with another update. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.
We're in Moscow tonight. We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. We'll be doing that soon. There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously, so we've thought about it carefully over many months. Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have no real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it in ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe. But the long-term effects are even more profound. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances, and the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy. The post-World War II economic order, the system that guaranteed prosperity in the West for more than 80 years, is coming apart very fast, and along with it, the dominance of the US dollar. These are not small changes. They are history-altering developments. They will define the lives of our grandchildren. Most of the world understands this perfectly well. They can see it. Ask anyone in Asia or the Middle East what the future looks like. And yet the populations of the English-speaking countries seem mostly unaware. They think that as nothing has really changed. And they think that because no one has told them the truth. Their media outlets are corrupt. They lie to their readers and viewers. And they do that mostly by omission. For example, since the day the war in Ukraine began, American media outlets have spoken to scores of people from Ukraine, and they have done scores of interviews with Ukrainian President Zelensky. We ourselves have put in a request for an interview with Zelensky, and we hope he accepts. But the interviews he's already done in the United States are not traditional interviews. They are fawning pep sessions specifically designed to amplify Zelensky's demand that the U.S. enter more deeply into a war in Eastern Europe and pay for it. That is not journalism. It is government propaganda. Propaganda of the ugliest kind, the kind that kills people. At the same time, our politicians and media outlets have been doing this, promoting a foreign leader like he's a new consumer brand. Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin. Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. They've never heard his voice. That's wrong. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in, and we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But they're trying anyway. Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again, but this time we came to Moscow anyway. We are not here because we love Vladimir Putin. We are here because we love the United States, and we want it to remain prosperous and free. We paid for this trip ourselves. We took no money from any government or group, nor are we charging people to see the interview. It is not behind a paywall. Anyone can watch the entire thing, shot live to tape and unedited, on our website, tuckercarlson.com. Elon Musk, to his great credit, has promised not to suppress or block this interview once we post it on his platform, X, and we're grateful for that. Western governments, by contrast, will certainly do their best to censor this video on other less principled platforms because that's what they do. They are afraid of information they can't control. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. You should know as much as you can. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself. Thanks.